My last cleaning job didn't go so well. Written by Reddit user RoseBlack 2222 and brought to you by Midnight Pasta. People I know call me Mr. Clean. No, not because I'm bald, which I'm not, but because I have a knack for cleaning up the worst things imaginable. Who do I mean by people? Let's just say I get hired by clients who aren't exactly upstanding. When these people make messes, I'm usually the first person they get in touch with to clean them up. I'm not proud of what I do. The way I justify what I do is that the people I clean up are just as bad, if not worse, than those who hire me. Usually, anyway. Now, normally I wouldn't be posting about what I do, especially on a site like this. But, given what I experienced during my last job, I feel it is necessary for me to do so. This job was located at an older but otherwise nice-looking house. When I knocked on the door, a pudgy dude opened the door for me. This guy looked like death. His skin was incredibly pale. Not to mention, he hadn't slept in days, judging from the bags under his eyes. As a matter of fact, the rest of the people in the house looked to be in similar condition to the guy who opened the door for me. Including him and me, there were a total of 7 people in the home. 8, if you counted the mess. The other people included 2 other guys and 3 girls. One of the guys was around my age. The other was in his 60s from what I guessed. And so was one of the women. The 2 girls were the last ones I noticed. One was in her teens, and the other couldn't have been more than 8, 10 at the most. The air was thick with sorrow. Nobody said a word. The only sound I heard was that of the refrigerator. Glancing at the older woman showed me that she was trembling. The older man, who I figured by then was probably her husband, tried to comfort her. Even though he slowed it down some, her trembling was still pretty noticeable. Once I had scanned the room, I asked the pudgy guy where the mess was. He led me upstairs to a room all the way at the end of the hall. As we got closer to the door, the stench of rotting flesh hit me. I wrinkled my nose some. Not a normal reaction, I know. But I have been doing this a long time. I once had to scrape bits of a guy's brain off a wall. So this didn't really faze me. That is, until I saw it. When the pudgy man opened the door, I was greeted with the most gruesome sight I had ever seen. It made everything else I had ever cleaned up seem like spilled milk by comparison. The first thing my eyes were drawn to was a bed. Laying in it was the corpse of a 20-something-year-old woman that was tied to the bed. Her stomach had been ripped open, making her guts and other organs spill out. The next thing I noticed were the 2 headless men. The floor beneath them and the wall behind them was covered in an insane amount of blood. When I looked closer, I saw bits of flesh among the blood. I also observed something about the headless men I hadn't before. Originally, I thought they were wearing black business suits of some kind, except that they didn't have any ties. However, upon closer inspection, I saw that they were priest outfits, Catholic as far as I could tell. Usually, I don't ask for details on how a mess was made. My clients don't talk to me beyond a few words, and I don't talk to him. This allows me to focus entirely on my tasks at hand. But this was so extreme compared to what I had seen in the past that I had to at least try and get an explanation for it. The pudgy guy had been standing in the doorway as I looked around the room. I turned to him, then asked, "The fuck happened here?" "You don't want to know," was his only reply before he walked away, leaving me alone with the bodies. Something you should know about me: I have severe OCD. I have to do things at a certain time, have a certain number of items, and my house has to be spotless. While it's a pain to live with, it has helped me tremendously with my job. I know the chemicals and the tools to get out just about anything. No matter what the material I have to get said things out of, it is. I'm not gonna get into specifics because I don't feel like it. Anyway, I got straight to work. I always make sure to have the items I need handy. Better to be prepared when someone contacts me, rather than be ill-prepared. It didn't take me long to wrap up the headless priest's bodies. Cleaning up the floor and wall was a different story, however. Even though it was tedious, the blood and chunks of flesh eventually started to come out. After using a lot of elbow grease, I was able to clean everything up. That is, except for the bed with the woman tied to it. I knew that this would be a challenge for 2 reasons. 1, because some blood had gotten behind the bed, meaning I would have to move it. And 2, because the blood had no doubt seeped into the mattress. Unless there happened to be a mattress cover on it, which there wasn't. I happened to carry a pocket knife on me, just in case I need to cut through something. That tends to occur a lot in my job, including the one I'm writing about. I would have started cutting away the binds from the girl's body if it weren't for the movement I noticed. Or at least, I thought I did. I could have sworn I saw the head move, ever so slightly. This made me take a step back. My heart began to race when a perfectly logical explanation crossed my mind. A draft. Yeah, that's it. One must have caused it to move. Satisfied with the explanation, I continued to work. I started to cut away the vine. But then, I heard the unmistakable sound of someone moaning. I jumped back, nearly dropping my knife. Once again, my attention was on the corpse. And of course, it was doing nothing. The possibility that I was finally going insane from all the horrible things I had seen was not lost on me. Still, going crazy or not, I had a job to do. I finished cutting through the first bind, then quickly cut through the rest of them. With the body freed, I could begin cleaning. It started like my other jobs. I began wrapping up the corpse. That was when it grabbed me. Its icy hands closed around one of my wrists, like iron vices. I didn't even fully process what was happening before my fight or flight instinct kicked in. But no matter how much I struggled, I couldn't get free. The dead woman's head turned to me, then smiled. Blood coated her teeth as she spoke. They failed. They failed. It laughed. They thought they could get rid of me, but they lacked the power to do so. The pain in my wrist was excruciating. I was on the verge of passing out when I remembered my knife. I pulled it out, then stabbed it into her hand. She let out a cry of pain and threw me across the room. I felt the wind get knocked out of me as my back hit the wall. The woman's corpse got up as I slumped to the floor. She floated towards me. "Thanks for cutting me loose," she said. I don't believe it. How did this happen? This girl made a deal with me. Those priests tried exorcising, but well, you already know how that went. Are you a demon? I guess you could call me that. But before I go downstairs, let me give you my name. It's La Salusa. Why would you give me your... Wait, why are you going downstairs? Oh, I just want to repay the people who hired the priests who attempted to get rid of me. No, I said, trying to get up, but she placed a foot on my chest, keeping me down. This lady was 5.5 feet at the most, but that thing in her gave her incredible strength. She could have crushed my heart if she felt like it. Remember, if you want to make a deal with me, just say my name, she told me. Then she exited the room. My head was pounding, but I still managed to get to my feet. Feeling the back of my head revealed a small lump. I guess I was lucky enough to have any bleeding on the back of my head, or a concussion for that matter. Wish I could say the same thing for the people downstairs, though. I heard the sound of screams and pounding on the front door. I ran downstairs to see what was going on. The older couple lay dead on the floor. Their necks had been snapped based on the position they were in. The others tried desperately to pull the front door open, but it was no use. She started slaughtering all of them, except for the little girl. She managed to slip away, while her other family members were being torn into. The demon let out a roar and started after her. I leapt down the stairs. The sound of my feet landing on the floor drew the demon's attention. When it turned to face me, I planted my knife into its eye. It grabbed me, then threw me across the living room. This time, I hit the TV, breaking it. The demon continued its pursuit of the little girl. However, I soon heard a yell of pure rage. "She's gone!" I heard the demon scream. "You made me lose her!" It yelled, coming back into the room. By that time, I had managed to get back on my feet. Over the possessed girl's shoulder, I could see that the back door was open. Guess you weren't fast enough, I said, mocking the demon. It glared at me, then smiled. Lucky for you, I don't have enough strength to dispose of you. But I can do the next best thing. Before I could clarify what the demon meant, it pulled my knife from its eye, then tossed it to me, handle first. I caught it, confused. I was about to ask why it did this, but it was no longer there. The corpse it had inhabited collapsed to the floor, almost as if in response to that, the door bust open. 6 police officers came in with their guns drawn. I was speechless. I just dropped my weapon. Then they detained me. Apparently, the girl had gone to her neighbors and told them that her family was being hurt. Of course, they mistook me for the culprit, even though the little girl was adamant I wasn't. They didn't listen. They told her she was just confused from all the stress, and there was no way her big sister could have killed anyone when she was dead. They thought I was the one who killed her sister, as well as the 2 priests. This all happened a month ago. My trial is tomorrow. It didn't take them long to build a case against me, as you can imagine. I know for sure I'll be found guilty when I go to court. I thought about fleeing the country, but that would basically be conveying to them that I know I'm guilty. And besides, I don't have the money to get very far anyway. The best case scenario for me is pleading insanity and hoping I get to spend the rest of my life in a mental hospital. So, I guess this is it for me. Actually, that demon said to say its name if I ever wanted to make a deal. I wonder if that offer is still on the table.